T1's main roster and the Academy team also are struggling, but it feels like there's not quite that, like, whoa, they're so talented uptick. And so it's going to entirely come down to synergy and play style and coaching and these kinds of things.
I think for both teams across all four of them, I think it is just about coming together, being a bit more cohesive. We'll see how that starts here in the draft. Tomkench, On, and Tristana banned away by TSM Academy, and Zoe and Azir both intelligently taken away from a Blaze Olive.
Absolutely, and what we've seen banned a lot is also the Rise. Maybe someone will ban the Galio suddenly.
Maybe.
I mean, it did lose again.
Had enough games to see Galio to be like, that's pretty good. Maybe I don't want to deal with it. And I also wonder, you know, TSM, do they feel like taking it up? Nunu also kind of a priority here, so that is actually taken away. Greek is a man to play Nunu as well.
Oh, we'll see.
Don't tempt him.
I mean, there it is.
It's Galio.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if the Rise pick comes through. It was traditionally a pick that did all right into the Galio. It could kind of deal with the push. It was a relatively, once again, non-interactive lane, but you have the ultimate, so maybe you can fall around. Kind of like Talia, but a little bit more of a playmaking champ on its own, where Talia needs to really combo together with people. Rise does have more gank setup and things like that, so you can punish the Galio a little bit earlier on.
Well, Rise seems to be incoming here for GG's Academy. Taking their time, but they do lock it in. Bobchin will be taking that one into battle.
Jarvan. Show me Jarvan.
He's coming. We don't have a big board back here. That's actually kind of disappointing. But there is a Jarvan that you expected.
Yeah, there you go. What is Jarvan? What do they say?
A good champion and a great jungler.
And a good thing to keep off the same team of Galio.
Correct. So
no surprise there. Mr. Raleigh, like we were saying, is kind of the huge focal point on the side of TSM. And we've seen a lot of proactive Galio usage over the course of the first couple games today, where it's all about building a team that might snowball topside or might snowball bot side. But for TSM with that Kog'Maw lock-in, you're going to see more likely it's a focus of a protect the Kog'Maw comp. Maybe you see that Janna come back and you start getting shades of those really old, unkillable AD carries.
I'm kind of hoping we see a Lulu, but we'll see what kind of support comes out. TSM Academy maybe thinking about jungle here. Don't want to lose the jungler in the last pick here, but no, it is actually support. Not the you know, super supportive defensive support, though. It is much more aggressive in the Alistar.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do prefer that both in the meta and just generally as a viewer. I like seeing that Alistar pick come in. But like you said, it is a concern. No jungler taken in the first phase here. We have seen that kind of come back to bite the team. So Galio forces the Jarvan, and then you're like, great, that's good. But then double bans come in and get rid of more jungle picks. So it feels like the Galio pick almost sometimes baits you yourself as well into not taking a jungler early on.
Perhaps there, as Tarek is the lock-in for GG's. They're going to move into phase 2 of the ban. I mean, I like Tarek here, taking the support, matching the roles here. Yep, not going to be too much mismatch, but see what GGS want to pick on. You already hinted at it, but likely jungle, at least one is probably going to be hit here.
Yes, most likely. You can see the Sejuani would be the first one people look at, and then maybe the Zac as well, unless Grig has a more famous reputation or something else. But also the Camille. A little surprising to see that one. We saw a couple games. We see how strong it is, so it's kind of understandable. But with that mismatch in the jungle, maybe Golden Guardians is not super focused on that one.
Camille also going to be, Skrill also, sorry, very strong champion.
Oh my god, Pastry's dying. He'll be okay though. On the side of TSM Academy, they have their AD carry lock-in, so Kalista will come through, like we were saying, most likely. And then there's a couple other champions.
Still dying.
Still dying. I'll be good, dude. I'll solo cast. You just go home. I got this one.
No. I'm staying for the action. I know this league well enough to know that if I don't stay, something truly ridiculous will happen. We'll break the game length record or something.
Yep.
Zac, though, taken away, so jungle's being hit. But I still feel like a lot up. Evelyn and Sedge both available.
Yeah, so that's why I was surprised to see the Camille the first time, because if you're going to throw any jungle bans, you think you would double ban it, get rid of the Jarvan, or the Sejuani and the Zac, so they don't have either good option, and they're forced into the Rengars and some of the other more squishy champions. So I guess maybe they felt like the Eve was going to come in anyways. Who knows? Maybe choose not to go with it.
Ban though by TSM Academy. I do like that. Again, pinching the AD carry pool, setting up Raleigh for a big game here, which is kind of what we've expected from TSM Academy. Alawi, though, could... Oh, no, it's Varus instead. So, gonna wait on the counter pick there for top lane.
Yeah, you can always hold that Alawi pick. No reason to show it right away. You already know what bot lane you're up against, so just take it there. Maybe you sow some seeds of doubt on the side of TSM Academy by hovering that Alawi pick, and then you take Ornn. Oh, he's actually banned, so you can't take Ornn.
Maybe something else instead, though. TSM needs to round out this draft. We mentioned Sedge, we mentioned Evelyn. Both pretty good options here available, and I think, again, given the nature of the Galio Kog'Maw comp, you probably want a tank, so Sejuani is going to be the pick here.
Yep, absolutely. Prefer that over any kind of the squishier jungle pickups. GP is an interesting one because it does work very well with this team comp. You have Galio to cover some of his potential weaknesses if the dives start coming up from the top side, and you can make that a lot safer. And then you have that great late game team fight between the Kog'Maw, the Galio, and the GP. And like we said, Galio is no longer a late game weakness.
No, certainly not. Does a lot of DPS. And I kind of like what TSM put together, kind of two Sammy tanks in some way. Galio still tanky with his cooldowns up. Alistar is kind of the same with his ulti. And of course, a real frontliner for Sedge. So TSM set up pretty well. I feel like this is the kind of thing we're expecting to see a lot of. But last pick is a doozy. Jenkins on the Kled.
I like the Kled pick. It's something that we haven't seen a ton of. Licorice was the only guy that I can remember pulling it out specifically into the GP, though I'm sure it's happened elsewhere. And it worked.
And I believe that's true.
Yeah, it worked really, really well. And I think it's kind of undervalued just because people know the Gnar matchup, you know the Vlad matchup, you see people go for those, but the Kled pick itself is just as good, as well as becoming a great bully and team fighter. So he can kind of do what Gnar does in both areas, but he's not as dependent on hitting your Mega Gnar timings.
Certainly a lot of fun here. I like what both teams have drafted though. Final game of the night does feel pretty evenly set, at least as far as champ select goes, but I think both teams are going to want to put in a really strong performance here. Again, we're starting to creep up through the week, end of week 3. Last game for these two teams here. TSM Academy already feeling good. Going to ride that high onto a victory. GGS not feeling so great, but beating TSM, no matter what league you're in, always feels good.
Yeah, just even the name recognition of being like, yeah, we beat TSM.
Yeah.
Sounds good on paper. And also with this comp for Golden Guardians, going to have to be proactive. You have Varus in the bot lane versus Kog'Maw. Kled in the top lane versus GP, both of those are going to get outscaled, and then also even in the jungle, Sejuani versus J4. So you can probably expect to see a fair amount of aggression out of Golden Guardians, and if they fail to find openings early, TSM Academy should be pretty happy with that.
Well, quick check-in with the runes once more. Nothing super out of the ordinary. I guess it's always nice to check in on Sejuani. A lot of different choices there. Grig with Aftershock, though, so I guess it was buff, so maybe a little more valuable, but taking, I would say, the more skirmish and teamfight oriented rather than a more selfish power like fleet footwork.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And Jarvan, while can go aggressive on the Sejuani, it's not quite invade heavy, try and kill you in the jungle. It can happen, of course, but Sejuani is more concerned with the fleet footwork pickup when against a more skirmish focused jungler like a Kha'Zix or something.
Looks like people are just shifted around though. Potluck was back down to this bot side, and actually we're going to do the same. So people just trying to get the info, but bot lanes will be late to their lane, and that should be enough info to realize exactly what's going on. So we'll see if, especially the Golden Guardians, can make their way to that top lane and really pressure the GP. We talk about it a lot. Gangplank a champion that is vulnerable to a lot of early pressure, but unless you do it a lot and really put him in the dirt, it just doesn't feel like it's enough.
Absolutely, and I'm a little surprised to see Shady going with the Aftershock on Alistar. It's a champion that often runs unsealed spellbook, and in particular with how this game, at least on paper, should go, you would expect a lot of topside pressure, and having an Alistar show up randomly for some headbutt pulve underneath a turret to protect the GP would obviously be very powerful, but hey, look at that Aftershock prop.
Yeah, looks good at the level 1 trade. Shady getting a lot of good damage onto it special, but Rallis does take some poke in return. Certainly curious to see how Kog'Maw fares with a lot of the changes there in bot lane. Went largely ignored tonight, actually, as far as drafts go, but Rallis is not a man to shy away from Kog'Maw.
No, absolutely not. And it did get banned every now and then, and some teams seem to have higher priority on Xayah now, given that she has more defensive tools, and Kog'Maw's kind of like a please, I hope I don't die. Everyone protect me. Doesn't do much for himself.
Certainly can snowball things pretty effectively here as Brandini playing up with the GP for a little while longer. Again, haven't seen this matchup too often. That wasn't one that got played a whole lot. I feel like Gangplank and Kled have A, not been in the game together that long, but also B, just never both in meta.
Yeah, I guess this is really the first time you're starting to see it with both a lot. And even in that sense, Kled is not quite in meta, but he does have the kind of similar thing where he needs a couple levels to turn online. GP's Q early on is a bit of a nuisance for him, but then when he gets his Q and E combos, being able to trade in with him, as well as his ultimate to lead the big chase downs, it works out. Brandini a little overexposed given the early power.
Oh, Pollock going to try something with Jenkins, going to miss the bear trap on a rope. Still Dunkaroo, nice flash from Nugget, but Brandini zipping away, flash to the other side.
Really good gank attempt on the side of Golden Guardians, just did not land with that first bear trap on a rope. If you land that, most likely a kill forces Potluck to burn his flash, which then forces Brandini, so it's just a summoner trade, all things considered.
Jenkins should feel happy with a bit of pressure there. We'll see if Potluck does go for the revisit. Grigdo was also shading up towards that area, so certainly had some idea of what was happening. Mid lane check-in real quick. This one's going to be a farm fest. Back to bot lane.
Well, Pastry, I have so many interesting points to make about the Galio Rise.
You are more than welcome to.
I don't have any, actually.
Double D materialize, that may be something of note, but like I said, a lot of pushing back and forth.
Yeah, that's the thing. Both these guys have very spammable ways to clear the minion waves. You don't want to get out-prioritized early on, so you take those dematerializers. At 6, it will probably focus and favor the Galio a little bit.
And MarkZ prophecy comes true. Petrop on the rope is hit. Kled wins the trade.
Yeah. And
complicated matchup.
Complicated matchup. There are some little nuances, like when we were watching Licorice versus, I forget exactly who he was playing the matchup with. Someday. One thing that was happening was that you can't put your GP barrels as close to you as you normally like to, because what the Kled will do is he will E through you and use his first auto attack on your barrel. So you actually need to space your barrel a little further away than you're typically used to doing and put them more on the sides, versus whereas GP often kind of just stands in the middle of the wave. Sometimes swirls them in brushes, but you have to be really careful about walking close to your barrels.
Dismount there for Kled. So Jenkins going to go back, remount onto Skull, and then rush back towards the top lane. The makings of a Phage are in progress, and a Sheen now done, plus a Ruby Crystal for Brandini, who is going to TP back. Looks like Jenkins is walking. Bit of pressure here in the bot side. Shady again, looking for the stun. Slapstick special. Morales getting some damage back down. Jurassic looking for the arrow, but doesn't quite land it. And again, nothing crazy, but nice bit of damage there from the TSM Academy duo.
Yep, could have been a good trade if Shady was able to get the Alistair E stun onto the actual AD carry, but a stun from Tarek dissuaded that. It just ends up in one of those situations where both beefy frontline supports are the ones getting pelted by their wimpy AD carries.
Plays Olive again, just farming things up. He's a little bit behind on CS right now, but couldn't see too many problems there. Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to check in on the minion aggro change, actually. I just realized. Rise finally gets let through a draft. We didn't check on it.
Yeah,
shame on us.
It's also sadly a draft where the trading onto the... Oh, hold on here.
Oh, move. Shady. Another stun onto a special. But Mr. Arla is trying to get some damage back down. Doesn't fancy this exchange at all. Exhaust down. Jurassic trying to get in. Dazzle not sidesteppable there. Raleigh still has his splash. Forced to burn the heal though.
Interesting force there on the side of Golden Guardians. The exhaust really, really almost coming up short. The stun barely clipping Mr. Raleigh, therefore forcing the flash. But it did feel like it was a little over eager. I was not expecting to see any kind of kill there. So even the heal surprised me a little bit. But it is nice to get some summoners out. If you are playing the Varus side of the matchup, you can sometimes find some kills. If you get a nice arrow, or excuse me, ultimate, and then a follow-up by especially, you can get some kills. But it's not very easy. There you see Brandini standing on top of his barrel. Jenkins just ease over to him, hits the barrel, kills it all too easily.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Kled passive there, but actually pretty helpful. Killing those barrels. Brandini there, unrelenting in his barrel attempts. Slap, slap. Ulti there. Jenkins gets dismounted, but he's going to keep fighting away. Needs to build up courage and remount, and Brandini knows that this is not a good look. Good stopwatch, but Jenkins still there. Ready, waiting for the slap. Does remount. Looks for the dive instantly. Jenkins trying to make it all happen. Pops the ulti. A little awkward. Just away. Gun. Oh, he misses. That's a tragedy. Flashes out, but nobody died.
Oh, Jenkins played that so well. Just missed the last part of all that trading. Perfectly built up his meter to get the Kled remount, Scarl remount, excuse me, and then dropped his ultimate, but did not really actually get any damage down, really.
Missed the one fish in the barrel with that little pocket pistol.
Unfortunate, but really good trade. Gets the stopwatch out, keeps the pressure up, and this is where hopefully Rise can start getting some push and get onto the top side of the map, help them actually snowball this. Potluck is a player who's been pretty quiet during his time on the Academy team, hasn't had a ton of very influential early games, but this is the perfect game now with that stopwatch out to maybe get some kills up on the top side.
Well, Jenkins still has that TP again, walks back. Brandini forced to do the same, but he's a lot slower to this lane. when the Phage, now done for Jenkins, can continue to stay aggressive. Brandini, though, I actually like this diversion a lot early. Jarum's Fist, just to kind of dissuade any super aggressive play from the Kled and just try and stay a little healthier. Yes, it would delay your Trinity Force by quite a bit, but it's probably worth you surviving.
Yeah, definitely. It's been shown that Jenkins is pretty well-versed in the matchup and doesn't want to risk going down in these fights. Going to start another gank off as you see the collapse coming in by 3 members of Golden Guardians.
Could be a bait, but in the wrong direction. Oh, Greg gets spotted. That's maybe going to call it off. No, instead, Bobtron's like, fine. This is a pretty good target. I'll lock you down, but Greg says I'll do the same with Blaze Olive. We're going to try and lock things over. Realm Warp out with the stasis, but that leaves Potluck out to dry. Oh, Shady, hello, flash. Headbutt does not quite connect, but great flash from Potluck actually saves him. And you could see Galio was hoping it would work because he insta-ults that Alistar.
Really nice play out of both teams there. Golden Guardians trying to kick things off in the top lane. Very telegraphed. TSM Academy was already collapsing. Both teams try to divert into a blue buff invade that gets canceled out. And then Shady shows up, loses his flash, trying to force.
Oh, the bear trap again. Orange is out. Jenkins going to keep the slaps going. Shoots, but not in range to attack Brandini unmounted. So he's going to have to chill out. It's unfortunate. Kled is not a very chill champion.
No, he's nutty. Always trying to pick fights with people. But overall, thus far, Bobtron doing a good job in his matchup versus Blaze Olive. Generally, it's like we said, pushing, focus matchup. But has have a lead. Jenkins, unrelenting, though, on the top side.
This is comical. Little Kled running down. Does remount, so certainly knows his way around the ranges. And Brandini's like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah, but getting harder here for Brandini. Does have the teleport to rejoin. Also has his ultimate available, so probably going to teleport back up to the top side and just say, hey, if there's a dive coming bot, all I can do is ult.
Well, he's going to TP back, like you said. Magical footwear done, but nothing really picked up apart from some consumables and a refill on that potion.
Did finish his Ninja Tabby.
Ah, that does make a difference.
Pretty useful in the matchup, but like you said, a lot of the concerns are when multiple members come in and collapse onto the GP. So a little safer in the 1v1, but still needs to worry about these roams that might come in.
Well, staying aggressive. Potluck also getting involved with a Blaze Olive. Punches his way out.
Keep my eye on those minion aggro changes, like you said. Not too bad with range creeps. All they have to do is pivot and keep throwing the little, I don't even know what those are, little smudges at you.
Oh, yeah.
But if there's melee creeps alive, that's where you have to be worried.
Bobchin tones it up. Greg with the ulti. Great combo there into Bobchin. CC chain's not quite long enough. And now the counter-attack will come in. Kled zooming down the river. That's a flash out there onto Jurassic. A Blaze Olive. Forced to burn the stopwatch. Can they protect him? Shady's here. Big 3-man pole after the headbutt. But once again, first blood not attained.
Golden Guardians are a little too well coordinated. Drop all their CC at the exact same time on a stopwatch opponent. So not actually able to get that kill. If they spaced that out a little bit better, maybe would have been able to find it. But Shady did a good job following the play and was able to get a 3-man pulverize, like you said. So all things considered, a disengage and a nice play by Bobchin to keep his cool. Did not end up flashing away despite the big combo that was dropped on top of him. He had the Negatron cloak, which is a major reason why he did not actually have to be that worried there. It looks like he's going for that very early Abyssal Mask. Doesn't have too much synergy with the rest of his team. Maybe works well with Varus, but otherwise it's more just about surviving some of this pressure that's going to come in from, all things considered, a decently magic damage focused enemy team.
Yeah, a bit of a selfish purchase, but maybe necessary versus the Galio in the lane. And like we've seen already, Galio does a lot more damage with AP these days, so certainly going to get some value as the game goes on. Looks like a lane swap though from TSM Academy, matched quickly by GG's.
Don't mind the idea of this. You know, it's a Mountain Dragon, which is in no way insignificant, but if your GP has been under a little bit of pressure, start moving them around the map. If you feel more confident in your macro play, maybe you can get some advantages that way. The GP up 20 CS because these roams by Jenkins have not worked out.
Yeah, Jenkins actually TP'd back just with the Ninja Tab I completed after sitting on that Fade for a while, so seems to be struggling in the gold department. Unfortunately for him, his solo efforts have not yielded any kills, which would do wonders in trying to equalize any differential there. Storala, though, not even with a Rage Blade done, starting to really lay into Tarek. Hogmore is such an intriguing AD carry.
It really is. A champion that for a long time was seen kind of as a hyper scaling champion when pretty much everyone had to go the crit path, and he didn't have much for steroids aside for his crazy W. So as you leveled that up and you finally hit your items, those two factors, the crit plus the magic damage portion, really made him shine. There were some on-hit builds you could run with him, but he was just seen as one of those huge threats. Now with Ginsu's Rage Blade, even when they had the Bork first item, Triforce first item, like one item power spikes became a lot more powerful on him. And ever since then, he's kind of been a lot more focused on the mid-game champion. The Juggermaw comps were really 1 to 2 item power spiking comps that he just got to this point so early on that tanks couldn't walk up to him because they haven't completed that many items yet either. He shredded them.
Yep, Rage Blade on the other side though, Jurassic pretty close to his. Looks like the 80 carries look evenly matched in this game, but again, 14 minutes have passed and no first blood has been spilt.
Sadly.
Let it known I am outraged.
I know, what I thought you were gonna bring more craziness, but apparently not.
Slow and steady is the name, especially. I mean, I get it for TSM Academy.
Yeah, they've
got a Kog'Maw, they've got a Gangplank, the TSM. Been playing slow recently, that's all I'm saying.
Hey, the Academy team is not the same, all right?
No, that's true. But like I said, the spirit of the teams does seem to be kind of mixing back and forth between the LCS and Academy, and I think TSM Academy has been playing pretty slow. But like we've said, time for these teams to get synergy together. Do you need to build that all up?
Yeah, but here's a big engage coming in for TSM.
JD's starting to go, but the Tyrant Gold is nice. Good stasis there for Jurassic as Potluck getting low. Does stasis there, the damage still good. Potluck able to flash out, but Jurassic not so lucky. That's first blood to a Blaze Olive. Dark Special gonna get chased down as Galio collects the double.
Oh, just such a ill-fated invade there on the side of Golden Guardians. They're going into it with no global to match the Gangplank ultimate. Galio was able to collapse on that very quickly as well. And then the fact that Shady had a great wraparound and was able to start that off. So just nothing really working well for Golden Guardians there. All that taking place in the choke point, all those AoE ultimates getting a ton of value. And there you go. You complain about it and you will receive. We get some kills.
All right. I'll maybe start complaining more in this game, depending on how it develops. But great work there from TSM Academy. Going to take the Rift Herald out of the deal as well. And with turrets still standing, that juicy first turret bonus is still up for grabs.
And here you see Shady just walk in, flashes for the multi-man knockup. This is a nice Taric ultimate to delay the inevitable, but you see just how much CC is coming into multiple taunts. The Jarvanel kind of locking themselves in that area. Mr. Raleigh is able to get that kill on follow-up, and yeah, Kled being a complete non-factor, basically a 4.5 v5, as well as the fact that TSM was already pretty strong in that fight.
Certainly looking good. As we are going to have a reminder here in celebration of Groundhog Day. EULCS repeats itself after today's Academy broadcast. So stay tuned for that after this.
It was Groundhog's Day?
Yes.
Did he see a shadow? Do we know?
He did. 6 more weeks of winter. Feels bad, man. Bill Murray was also not present. It was very, very disappointing. Brandini, though, comboing back in with the barrels. A TP in from a Blaze Olive. A little too keen on that one, but deters him from any extra action. And now TSM Academy going to use that Rift Herald straight away and bust down a turret.
Yep. 6 more weeks of winter in California not meaning too much, just like that teleport in the bot lane.
No, it does mean a lot, though. Solo gold for Shelly and Mr. Rales.
I guess so. I think probably wasn't going to be too big of a contest up in the top side as Golden Guardians had evacuated that lane. Kog'Maw hitting that power spike now with the Ginsu's Rage Blade. Varus has his own as well, so somewhat even, but the Kog'Maw range extended on his W gives him a huge advantage in just trades.
Shelly!
She's
working
not done.
overtime today. Not at all. In fact, TSM are also behind Rales here for the babysit, so this could be 2 turrets very quickly. Rales opening up. Going for a great look for the ult, finds it now, going to do special Shady with a follow-up and a Blaze. Oh, it flies in to rescue. Doesn't need it. Shelly's still alive. The push continues, Mark.
There's the aggressive.
Whoa, hello. Flash taunt. Jurassic. He's going to get locked up. Wins the war enough to clip it. Shelly still going for it. Finally goes down, but Potluck late to the party, my man. And TSM Academy get kills and 2 turrets.
And that's why I said don't compare them to the main roster. They actually do things. Great dive there on the second turret in the top lane. It looked like they were unsure about whether they wanted to pull the trigger. They could have gone here right away, but I think they didn't know exactly if the Rise was roaming up. But then once the special walked forward, they just say this is too juicy not to go for. Sick double knockup by Shady. Blaze Olive not really contributing right away, but he's able to get the flash taunt onto Jurassic, keeps him in range long enough to get the cooldown off Winds of War for the fadeaway. Second kill, second turret taken down upset.
Very nice stuff. And I'm proved wrong. TSM Academy surged to life here in this game, and they are very, very far ahead in gold. 4K and counting, if my terrible maths can work that one out. But regardless, up a number of gold, and Raleigh has 2 items already finished.
Yeah, that is a big Kog'Maw. Not even 20 minutes in the game yet. Complete vision up on the top side here. Eventually TSM's going to want to work that down the bot lane because they are looking to mow down their second row of turrets. Because they've already taken all the ones outside the base in the top lane.
Yep, again, got 2 off the deal. Which is always a nice little bit of value. You're going to get a second one very comfortably here. And looks like a trade again attempted here by Golden Guardians. Unfortunately for them, Gangplank is a very good gatekeeper of turrets.
Yeah, didn't even have his ultimate up, but didn't need it. The barrel combo alone enough to deter Golden Guardians. So a 1-for-0 trade. Some might call that stealing.
That's not a good trade, certainly. As Drake also going to go over. TSM just ravaging through the right side of the map, taking all the objectives, while Gangplank just happily banks up in the top lane. I mean, the Baron's up in 35 seconds. At this rate, I'm maybe considering them going for it as BlazeOlive forces a flash. Great start from Shady to headbutt Pole Bobshin.
Yep. Shady having a great game thus far on this Alistar pick. Talked a lot of smack at the start of Academy, saying that he's on TSM now and he expects to crush everybody because that's just what TSM does. A little bit of a different story at the start of this.
Didn't get the script
yeah.
for this season. Very different.
Very different script, but it's turning around now. TSM Academy won earlier. Going to go for the 2-0. Looks like they are on track to do so.
Yeah, BlazeOlive back in, Winds of War poking on sub-option. Brandini actually showing us moves in the mid lane. 3 carries farming 1 lane. Not desirable, but BlazeOlive is doing a recall, so and Brandini goes to bot lane, so it is only temporary.
Yep, it's one of those games now where your AD carry is very, very strong, so just throw them in lanes where there are turrets to take. Mid lane outer is the next obvious one. With how much control they have, you can expect some great flanks to pressure them off these turrets. Grig is very strong. BlazeOlive can do the same. Shady as well. If they try and hold this turret underneath it once they get reset onto the map, you can expect another dive to come in.
As a reminder, we often use Academy to help predict the future of the upcoming LCS
Absolutely.
weekend. If this is any indicator, TSM is going to surge to life this weekend. Mark my words.
No other reason to doubt them. Bjergsen also tweeted that he feels like he's ready to smash kids this week. Last week, Song said, yeah, we're going to need 2 weeks to, around week 3 or week 4 is when we're going to come online. So
it is week 3?
Yeah, so it is time to start believing in TSM again.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. But whatever's going on certainly seems good for the Academy squad. Going to line up the sweep for the weekend. Still got lots of work to do, though. Golden Guardians Academy behind. 5,000 gold is not a good spot to be in, but certainly game still within distance.
It's a very far distance.
Yes.
Mostly outscaled in this game, and 5K behind, like you said, is not an easy distance to close. But if you've seen anything in Challenger, or excuse me, Academy tonight, anything is possible.
All right, that's your one.
That's my one. That's my one in like 3 weeks.
Bobshin gets out with the realm morph to safety as Grig was on the hunt. And maybe a little too active around the top jungle here for TSM. Brandini still holding court in the bot side, clearing out the minions. Looks like BlazeOlive has the top lane split push duty, has his ultimate at rank 2 ready to join. As Raleigh gets back to business here in the mid lane, trying to crack this turret.
So far, Golden Guardians have done a good job contesting this vision up on the top side that TSM Academy has been trying to grab. And as a result, this mid lane turret has stayed relatively healthy.
Well, I've already seen willingness to be proactive. Certainly have good champions to start some dives.
Yeah, and we also have an Infernal Dragon next, so if you don't want to come out, they will take that one happily for free.
And again, like we've discussed, trading 1-0, not a good time.
No. Do that too many times, you end up with nothing.
Yep, and unfortunately, the Golden Guardians haven't got much here in this game. Just a single turret to their name. They're not going to get shot at or perfected, but still going to have to find a way back in.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where you have to start looking for potentially some desperation pickoffs. TSM Academy is very methodical right now, so it's difficult, but maybe you run Ryze up the bot lane and Realm Warp onto Brandini and try and make a 2-man play like that. They have a lot of tools available with the Kled, the Varus, the Ryze, and the Jarvan, all being able to force plays relatively aggressively. So if you ever find that moment, you can't have any hesitation in the game like this. You need to find a way back in.
Well, Tortiga Jenkins, his window to really punish 1v1 has fallen down a bit, but Kled will scale up. Kind of curious to see if he can regain some traction in the sidelines after how well he was doing in the lane earlier on. But that Infernal you mentioned is up in a minute 45. TSM still have a turret to siege here in mid.
And they really want to be able to break this one before that. Makes it that much easier to control these neutral objectives if you could grab that first turret down. But bars can be difficult to push on, and like we said, Golden Guardians keep bringing multiple men to the mid lane to make sure that no dive is easy.
Yeah, Greg though clearing out some vision. So Baron also a potential threat, even though it's early. Shady again making the play, looking for Jurassic. That's going to get a flash out of Blaze Olive. Junks his way in. DPLT also committed, so TSM used a lot of cooldowns there.
Only one summoner used, but you traded on the enemy summoner as well. Support onto AD carry is generally considered a good trade. Now they're going to try and find another pick-off. Ultimates will be back up very shortly. They also have the ability to potentially just go Baron should Golden Guardians sink too many resources down on contesting the bot side of the map. Kog'Maw at this point will shred through Baron relatively effectively, and don't forget, Galio now does Baron decently quickly.
Yep. Attention though, that was mid. Means GGs are actually the ones to dip out left and clear Baron vision out for themselves. So TSM have kind of lost that, but again, with the right side of the map, increasing in priority with that Infernal Drake on the way. Kind of understand why Isaac Special is in a very sneaky position.
Yeah, both sides are pretty sneaky. Pink wards them both.
There's Olive, going to find Potluck, taunts him up, wins the war. Justice Punch also follows in. Potluck taking a little too much, but actually Blaze Olive's going to be caught out here. Special getting low. Pops the Tarek ulti. He's going to let himself live as Potluck dives in and vulnerable, but gets shot out, I believe, by Shady. And now Blaze Olive does actually fall down. Tries, looking to maybe find something, but doesn't follow the Realm Warp in. Potluck still too low. Raleigh just needs to dish out a little bit more damage. Jenkins off his mount. Skull has run away from him. But not enough follow-up. TSM trying it all. Brandini, he wants it bad, but he's not going to get it. No flash parlay available.
Multiple members of Golden Guardians able to live with almost no HP. It is a 1-for-1. Mid lane for support, so not great for TSM, but Mr. Raleigh, like you said, untouched throughout most of that fight, so he's able to go right down to this dragon, grab the Infernal.
Certainly call it worth it there for TSM Academy. Able to take down that Infernal. We'll watch this one again.
And it's just one of those situations where you don't quite focus down targets well enough. Potluck clearly taking some free damage, and then TSM collapsed onto a special. Not actually able to finish him off, so this Taric ultimate's going to bait this fight a little bit longer. And the Blaze Olive hits a nice multi-man stun, or taunt, excuse me, but Jarvan had sectioned off the rest of TSM. So as Brandini and Jenkins start collapsing the fight, it's basically broken off on the two sides. Potluck barely is able to live, Jenkins is barely able to live, so it ends up, despite that massive gold lead and health advantage, just being a 1-for-1.
Brandini chases but cannot find. Still scaling up here again. 3 items done for these big carries. Gangplank for the GA now finished after Triforce and Sterix. And Blade of the Ruin King joining the Hurricane and the Rage Blade there for Mr. Rales.
I like that purchase. Jenkins opting for a lot of HP. It's the kind of typical Kled build. Kind of similar to Gnar, where both just end up with a ton of HP and not many resist. So
Stone Plate.
Yep, so you get your Stone Plate third, but no matter what, Blade of the Ruin King will be very, very effective against that. Shred through a lot of the HP. Similar story, Jarvan trying to itemize against the Kog'Maw a little bit more, but very difficult.
Options out of there. He does have his Onion, so able to roam warp to safety, but the turret goes down. TG's finally kind of caught in a bad rotation. TSM Academy move forward and punish.
It was only a matter of time given the gold lead, so they've done a good job, all things considered, surviving as long as they did, but this is where it gets difficult. No mid lane outer turret. Baron, the next clear objective to focus down. Golden Guardians need to avoid getting engaged on.
For their credit though, gold lead has stayed pretty stagnant for these last 10 minutes or so. TSM up 5,000 gold, but it was like that the last time we checked in. Definitely more about keeping things on your side of the rift, and this Baron is going to be, like you mentioned, Mark, tough to contest.
Yeah. One Infernal Dragon, one Mountain Dragon means that, despite the fact TSM's comp is already good at getting it, now they can try even better. Nice Q by Bobchin to spot out that people were hugging that wall. Well done.
Ward goes down, but turned off by the control ward in the pitch. Shady is recalling. Looks like he needs a refresh on his Sightstone.
Cancels that, actually. You know what? They want to start this one
Other ideas.
A little risky as Golden Guardians are still in the area. You see how quickly they do this
Yeah, they do.
Baron, though.
They do check it. They're going to force them in here. Right? They should have a blue trinket, so they should be able to maybe make a play here, but Shady also going to maybe zone one out. Yeah, Bobchin's going to be the one called out. Claire trying to come in. No, Zondi's available, so the run-off's not going to work there. Special also taking damage as he defensively ults. Jenkins just got straight in the front of TSM. 1v5, no chance at all.
That's the problem with Kled. Once you press that go button, there's no abort button.
There's no ungo button, unfortunately for you.
Absolutely not.
Redemption steal! Nope.
Beautiful attempt.
Gets some vision. Blaze Olive zones out the Taric. Shady's actually going to wrap right in for the kill. And Special going to get knocked up, knocked around, bounce house hello, and a Blaze Olive. 5 kills now to his name. Special, the last victim.
And here you go, Shady. Great job camping this brush as the side of Golden Guardian.
Surprise!
Contest. Kill him, and Side's like, oh, I gotta help him, but he's way dead by the time he shows up. Also, Gangplank also kind of blocking that retreat, even if you want to get out that way. And a very nice setup. And like we said, Golden Guardians are going to need to avoid getting picked off like that, but TSM too good with their vision. Yeah,
again, it's just, you know, at some point you run out of good choices to make. You have to make your best judgment about 2 bad ones, and unfortunately for Golden Guardians, could not live through the really smart setup there from TSM Academy. Shady looking good on this Alistar.
Yeah, I think he's a player that, you know, some LCS fans might not have the highest opinion of, given the tumultuous nature of his time on Phoenix 1. It's hard to exactly pin down why that was the case, and I think a lot of people kind of looked at him as one of the reasons, but he's a really young guy. He came out of college to start playing there. Hadn't been playing support for all that long, actually. I believe like a couple seasons ago, he was a mid lane main. So he's a guy who has a lot of room to grow, and he's on a great roster and organization here at TSM.
Well, TSM Academy looking to again sweep the weekend, and starting to mount a pretty insurmountable gold lead for Golden Guardians Academy. That turret going down is going to make it almost 10,000 gold ahead. Again, next week being a mountain means that the closing speed for TSM Academy is just going to be that much faster.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to maybe ignore it. Still a minute out, but they have so much pressure right now, and another minute 50 on the Baron. You think that they might just stay camped up in the mid and top side here.
Yep, plenty of tools to dive with as well. Blaze Olive throws the poke in. Raleigh with his long range can poke either the champions or the turrets. And with Demolish also able there if they can charge it up long enough. Easy to try and get done here. Frantini also very strong on the GP, able to contribute his poke as well. And at some point, Baron buff still being available for a minute 30. TSM should look to get one of these turrets here. There is a tier 2 in bot lane they can take out, but looks like they're more interested in cracking one of these inhibitor turrets open.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are going to start getting some actual damage down on this one. Not having to be too worried about
this. Ooh, Shady straight in again. Ult's forced out. Blaze Olive in. He's going to zone them out of the way. The turret's going to fall as a result as Jenkins makes his way back around. A kill there in onto the potluck as Morales just popping off in this team fight. Special who's going to be the next one to go down. Brandini able to seal his fate. 2-0 for TSM, and they take the inhibitor and its turret.
Both tanks down on the team right now, so even though all 3 laners are up, there is no way to force TSM off of these turrets. A great dive, Baron buff still on them. Looks like they want one more minion wave.
I'm going to go in for it. Rallis again with a W up, lets it rip. Option great cleanse out of the taunt from a Blaze Olive, but TSM Academy going to cart these minions forward. Shady zoning up, pops the ulti in celebration. TSM Academy looking to sweep the weekend. They take down the Kled, they're onto the Nexus, into the fountain, and they have done it undefeated for a weekend. Finally, things are going their way.
Absolutely, and it looks good while they do it. 32-minute victory. A team comp that needs to survive the early game. Once they do that, they maintain their proactivity. Dives in the top lane, dives in the mid lane. Great play all around by TSM there.
Let it be known, TSM are going to have a great LCS weekend if we can take anything away from Academy, which we have learned we can.
Absolutely. It's done a great job predicting thus
it
far.
Has.
And so I would say if you are hesitant on whether or not you want to vote on TSM winning their games this weekend, you can try that.
Yeah, when in doubt, check Academy results. That's the best way to go. I have to say, again, I think we talked about this roster being something that should have all their pieces together. We expected Raleigh to do well. Though his support stuff really performed in that game. And full credit to his support, Shady, there. I think who had a pretty outstanding Alistar game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Raleigh is absolutely the star of the team, I think, in terms of skill and his play thus far in Academy. But you have to tip your cap to the guys around him, allowing all of that to be possible. The GP up on the top side being able to live for a little while before Shady and the Galio start becoming unlocked to go make plays on the map.
Well, good thing we're talking about him. To hear more about that victory, I'd like to welcome Mr. Rales to the broadcast via Skype. Rales, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
So you were a guy who's bounced around. I think you might be the player since you started your time in the league. How does it feel to finally, have a home on TSM that you can be a consistent part of?
I mean, it feels great. I feel like I've been stuck for a while at the same level, and just to take a step back and just really focus on my own performance and to have all the supporting cast we have in TSM is really great.
And you're certainly a player that is a star here in Academy on this TSM Academy team. As far as like you want to talk about, leveling up and kind of improving, is this the right environment for you? Are you kind of enjoying, even though it's been a rough first few weeks of Academy, do you feel like you're finally hitting your stride and getting to that level you want to get to?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot to improve on, but I don't know, it feels good. Like it's very easy to improve with all the help we are getting in TSM, and I think slowly we're gonna be able to take over the Academy League.
So one question I have for you is more meta-specific. With all the changes that came into support items and Relic Shield getting nerfed, do you feel like this is a good time to be a star AD carry in some sense, as you are for your team, where you will now have more power to take over the game in the early game now that it's not so sustain focused?
Yeah, I mean, the Relic Shield made it really impossible to do anything in bot lane. It was just AFK farm, and you don't really play around bot lane. And yeah, now you can see that Sarah Rakan is getting back, and obviously Kog'Maw Tristana is super strong. So it's definitely good to be the teams with a stronger AD carrier.
And I think as well as you played tonight, I think Shady also had a very good game, your partner alongside you in the bot lane. What have you thought of Shady in the few weeks you've got to play with him?
I mean, he's a really easy guy to work with. We talk a lot with each other about how we can improve, and yeah, he's a super nice guy, and he focused a little bit more on lane than my previous supports, so that's nice as well. Yeah, overall, just a really good player.
My final question for you is just regarding who you are looking to beat. I mean, you guys started off a little rough, but I think most people expect you to be one of the top teams in Academy. The other ones kind of being Team Liquid and Cloud9. Or is there anyone you have your eyes set on taking down?
Yeah, definitely Cloud9. It's the team that we've been scrimming against the most, and they're kind of the only Academy team that's been beating us in scrims for the most part. So yeah, definitely Cloud9.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ross, and congratulations on the victory this evening.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we're going to take a look somewhere else at how the league shook out after Week 3. Cloud9 Academy and TLE are tied for the top spot with FlyQuest and Echo Fox, both one win behind. With their win, TSM moves up alongside Clutch Gaming in the middle of the pack, ahead of Optic and 100 Thieves, with Golden Guardians and CLG rounding out the league.
Optic Gaming, my favorite beer gaming company.
They're sponsored by some sort of sweet kangaroo brand. It was an older trend. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for Academy, but the NALCS is coming up tomorrow. Be sure to tune in and see the LCS squads face off in the same matchups we saw today. And do not forget, the predictions will hold here. You don't have to wait till tomorrow afternoon for more league, though, because the broadcast of this morning's EU LCS matches is coming right up. And, of course, EU will resume with a live broadcast tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Central European Time. Now, for myself, Mark, and the entire Academy crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Stasis for Jurassic as Potluck getting low. Does Stasis there? The damage still good. Potluck able to flash out, but Jurassic not so lucky. That's first blood to a Blaze Dark Special. Gonna get chased down as Galio collects the double. Going for a great look for the ult. Finds it now. It's onto Special. Shady with a follow-up and a Blaze. Oh, it flies in to rescue. Bobchin's gonna be the one called out. Claire trying to come in. No, Zondi's available, so the run-off's not going to work there. Special also taking damage as he defensively ults Jenkins. This got straight in the front of TSM. Shady zoning up, pops the ulti in celebration. TSM Academy looking to sweep the weekend. They take down the Clan. They're onto the Nexus, into the Fountain, and they have done it undefeated for a weekend.